Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Redux What Ifs, and today we gonna continue. What if Natsu was in Black Clover, Part 5? Without any further ado, man, I just want to appreciate y'all for all the love and support y'all been showing me so far. And we almost at 160 subs, bro. Now, I know y'all saw I just finished What If Sakuna was in Young Justice, and I just posted that movie of what if Superman was Invincible, the movie. That shit is 9 hours long. That's probably the longest movie I got on my channel so far. With the second one being what if Maury Jin was in High School DxD. That's like a 3 hour movie. But I would only say that's because I didn't do season 3 and 4 yet. But yeah, as soon as you know what? I might bring back that series as well. Just finish it and make a whole new movie with that as well. So I just hope y'all enjoy all these uploads that I'm doing right now. I know it may seem like I'm just going crazy trying to do these uploads before the new year hits off. And while I'm in the algorithm right now, I figured it would be the best time to start uploading a little bit more and be a little bit more consistent, since I do have some time on my hands now. But I appreciate y'all for all the love and support y'all been showing me. And without any further ado, we gonna let this intro play and we gonna get into the what if.
I'm walking looking for souls, yeah. I'm booted up and I told him, that's not my host for bro. I sent him up here goes. 10 phones ready to go. 10 phones still decline. Home here's not my time. 252, that's a 9. You know.
Now, if you remember where we left off where the Black Bulls, Manga, Noel, Asta, and Natsu just got to the village that was being attacked because the Midnight Suns, I think Eye of the Midnight Suns, that's what they're called, are some of their group, some of the foot soldiers are looking for the magic stone. They're looking for the magic stone, right? So they just pulled up, and we are coming to the part where Noelle has just made a barrier, right? A barrier to protect everybody, since she's finally starting to realize her potential, right? So she realizes her potential, and that's when she creates a huge magical water dome. But before she did that, we're gonna backtrack a little bit, and we're gonna look at the events before she created the magic shield. So as Asta was cutting through the mist, as he did in canon, they look above their head as they see the villagers are concerned with deadly ice stakes floating above, as they both walked in, and they pretty much are like, who the hell is doing this? And so that's when Manga acts fast, shooting all the fireballs, right? Destroys the traps, right? And then that's when, as he destroys the trap, he finds Seihi dead on the ground. And the villain of the day, I think his name is Heath or Keith. It might be one of those. He begins to attack, which that's when he begins to attack using ice magic. And then that's when Natsu steps in, as he uses Fire Dragon Iron Fist, and just punches the ice. And then that's when he was like, you think you could just come over here and kill these villagers and hurt our friend Seihi? And then that's when he realized that Seihi was dead. And then that's when Natsu was like, no. He was somewhat of a challenge, but relatively easy to handle. Now, if anybody else doesn't want to get hurt, hand over the magic stone, or we will eradicate this village and find it. And then that's when Natsu, that's when his eyes get dark, and then that's when his fire aura flares up. And his fire aura, working in tandem with Manga's fire magic, shooting all the ice spikes that he keeps respawning, right? And the other soldiers and the other henchmen that he was with responding. And his fire aura is slowly making them melt. So that's when Natsu and and Heath or Keith, I think it's one of them. I'm leaning over towards Keith pretty much. So, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I'm gonna go with Keith for now. So him and Keith get into a heated battle. That's when Keith summons like this huge he did like this huge iceberg of spiked ice as Natsu just coats himself into fire and just runs straight through it, punching and kicking it, right? So he comes on the top of the projectile attack as he's skating down, and as he's skating down there, right, that's when you see some of it turning into water because of the heat that he's generating right now. And then that's when Natsu flash steps into like a flaming trail, just follows behind him as he clotheslines him, right? He clotheslines him like in the chest area, but that's when he had like made this like last second armor right on his chest. And then that's when he also they basically traded with Natsu hitting him with a fire attack, and then Heath also getting his magic attack off of him, right? So he like kind of froze him in ice, right? So Natsu gets blasted in ice, and then that's when Noel, Natsu, not Noel, Asta, and Manga get worried because Natsu's frozen, encased in ice, like his flames just went out. And then that's when Heath was like, I expected that one to have a little bit more fire to him. He was like, but look, he said, but then again, all fires get snuffed out with my magic. And then that's when that's when Natsu's flames begin to get around him. Like he has like this like orange silhouette glow outline on his body, right? And so as he was getting it, it's getting brighter and brighter, and then that's when some light gets to peeking through the ice, right? So that's when all the lights start to peek through, as that's when Natsu burst out the ice, and then that's when he lands on his feet, and he was like, "You really think that's gonna keep me down? You're gonna have to do a lot better than that." And then he was like, and then that's when he said, "So you can survive?" He could say, "You can survive getting encased in ice. Interesting. Maybe you weren't just a brat after all." And then that's when Natsu said, "Brat, I'll show you a brat." And then that's when Natsu uses fire dragon roar, right? And then he shoots it, and then Keith uses his ice magic to intercept it, but then he didn't realize how strong Natsu's dragon roar was, so it just completely melted the iceberg that he shot at Natsu again. And then it's a clean hit, right? It's a clean hit. And then that's when Keith gets back up, and then they summon even more ice spikes, which Manga couldn't keep up with. So that's when Noel came in and clutched and created a whole water dome to protect everybody from the water, from the from the ice spikes that were hanging above. And so that gave Asta and Natsu time to both, try to deal with Heath and his henchmen. So Asta begins to fight. That's when Natsu was like, "Hey, you want to do a trade?" And they both dap each other up. They both do like a high five, and that's when Natsu handles the two people that were with Heath, while Asta handles Keith, right. So that's when Natsu goes charging in, and they're using their ice magic. So Natsu dodges to the side. One of them shoots like a ice pillar at him, and then that's when Natsu dodges at the last second as the ice pillar just shoots by, with Natsu just barely like he's doing like on some Brawly Gogeta shit, when Brawly shot that huge ass blast, and then Gogeta just sat there on the side, just low key gliding with the blast. So that's what he did. But then Natsu used his dragon strength, and then his ability, and grabs the ice pillar, and then he grips on it, which he grabs it and then swings it onto one of the henchmen, which he was not expecting to get hit by his own magic. So that's what happened. And then Natsu finishes him off with the fire dragon iron claw attack, which is basically, y'all already know what Natsu's claw attack is. So he just wipes at him, right? And then that's when as he swipes at him, it's like a super zigzag that happens, and that's when it explodes. And then that's when another one summons like a huge ice, like a car-sized ice chunk, right, and just throws it. And then that's when Natsu uses fire dragon iron kick and slices it clean off, just like slices it clean in half with his kick. And then that's when Natsu uses that and then says fire dragon falling meteor, and then uses his jet propulsion ability and charges at him. And then that's when the henchman at the last second tried to throw up a shield, but then as Natsu was coming, all he sees is like this aura, and then that's when Natsu pulls his fist back, right, and then gathers all his strength. As the last thing that henchman sees is Natsu in the silhouette of a dragon coming out of his magic. And then that's when Natsu says, "Fire dragon, brilliant iron fist." And then it's pretty much Natsu's version of Dragon Fist. And that's when all the magic condenses, and then he hits the henchman. And then that's when it lets off a huge explosion, right? And so after they get taken down, that's pretty much when Heath and Asta, pretty much everything goes to canon with that, with Manga's running out of mana magic. He's running out of magic, so he decides to tell Asta that they're gonna recreate the Black Bull's initiation, right? And so that's when Natsu was like, "Count me in," and then they both what is it? Manga uses his final all the magic that he had to disperse all his shots that he had, right? And so that's when he throws the ball, right? And then that's when it scatters, right? All of them scatters, but it basically Heath blocks most of them, the oncoming ones, but he wasn't expecting not Asta to be at the back of him. And then that's when Asta used the flat end of his blade, right? Used the flat end of his blade to hit all the projectiles back, but instead of hitting it back at the group, right? That's when Asta hits them upward, all of them upward, because Natsu's up there. And then that's when Heath wasn't expecting it, as he was like, "What are you planning?" And then all those fire projectiles went all the way up in the air where Natsu was at, as Natsu was like, "We're up to this one." And then as he eats all the fire, he eats all the fire with all the fire coming into one, and Natsu gets fired up as he lets out his battle cry, and he pretty much charges up as it's like this huge, like this overwhelming fire and warmth and heat that everybody's feeling, just making Heath's magic a little bit more or less useless because there's a lot of heat going on. And so that's when Natsu is like, "It's time for me to finish you off." And then that's when Natsu says, "Fire dragon." He said, "Fire dragon, brilliant roar of the dragon flame." Right? And then so he basically, you know what? No, we're not gonna use fire dragon roar. He's gonna say fire dragon. He said fire dragon ultimate, brilliant flame of the fire god. So this is more like his more stronger one of the brilliant flame. So he takes all the power, right, and shoots it straight down. And he uses like a ice shield, right? But it was too much. So as the blast came down, it was just like a flash for a quick second, right? And then a huge explosion in the middle of the village, like a huge crater just shoots up, right? Huge crater happens with Natsu's fire dragon magic just shooting up in the air as it creates a little like tornado with the dragon, circling around it, like, and then that's when it disperses, right? And then that's when Natsu comes falling down as he crash lands onto one knee as he's breathing heavy since it kind of took a lot out of him as well. And so that's when Natsu was like, and that one was for Sahei and the kids that you scared. And then that's when he tries to get back up, and then that's when Asta and Natsu both looked at him, and then they both gave him a right hook. Natsu gave him a right, Asta gave him a left, and he was knocked out. And then that's when Manga and Natsu, along with Noel's help and the villagers, had them captured, right? So they basically subdue them and capture him. So after they captured him, that's when Natsu got on his knee and he was like, I'm kind of tired. And then that's when he falls back and then he starts sleeping, with Noel being really surprised that Natsu can sleep at a time like this. And pretty much everything goes to canon with this episode as they both, as all the henchmen, encase themselves in ice like on some Terminator stuff, and then they both kind of spontaneously combust in ice into millions of pieces. And then that's when, pretty much everything goes to canon with that episode. Nick says they could keep the stone as payment. And, that's when Natsu and Nick have a, good old grand time, as Nick visits his grandfather's grave, and Natsu gave some encouraging words as he was saying that he wants to find his dad as well. He said, but at the same time, since you know his legacy, the best thing you could do is to just try to carry it your way and to the best of your ability. So while that happens, the sun sets on a mission complete over there, right? And then we go back to a mysterious place where there's a lot of good decor inside a mysterious building where one of the mages that escape reports to a mysterious figure wearing a Golden Dawn emblem, as there is a mole working with this person as they weren't able to get him stoned. But the Golden Dawn figure said that it's no trouble, that everything is just getting started, so this is only just a minor setback. So that's when we go to go back to where the Black Bulls are, and they just got back to the to the base as Yami congratulates Noel and Manga and Asta and Natsu for a good job today. And that's when Vanessa also explains what the star system is, with the Golden Dawn being lead in the 70 stars, right? Being in the lead with 70 stars, and the Black Bulls are at a languishing -30, bro. Like, what the hell do you gotta be doing to be at a -30 stars, bro? But, I digress. So, and it was at the same time around payday as well. So, Yami gave them their paydays, which Noelle really wasn't, surprised about it since she's come from nobility. But Asta and Natsu are just still in awe about how much they're getting paid. So Natsu takes as much as he may need, mostly just for fish. So that's when Natsu prepares to give his allowance to his basically his paycheck to Sister Lilia in the church, and so does and words, and Asta does the same as well, right? So after that, we go to the next episode where the trio, I don't think it's the next episode, I might be tripping, I'm gonna just keep going. So we go on to the next scene where Asta and the trio heads to the black market to try to help Noelle control her magic, which Natsu still says that she really doesn't need something to control her magic, since she was able to make a shield perfectly on her own. But at the same time, Natsu can't see why you can't have a little guiding hands and, a little help from time to time as well. So as they were going down and they found an item, they run into some familiar faces, and then that's when an old woman's purse gets snatched. And that's when Asta and Natsu both looked at each other, and they both run after the thief that took the old lady's purse, and it becomes a chase after the man that took the purse. So he starts using some cloud magic, right? And then that's when Natsu was like, I'll go from ahead. You stay behind him. And then that's when Natsu, starts running, and then that's when his fire aura begins to come around him. And then that's when Natsu takes a strong stride forward, right? And then he just blinks into a fire, like a fiery ball with, fire trails going behind him as he's zigzagging through the alley and cutting, and then he jumps onto the roof to see the guy, right? So he jumps onto the roof to see the dude, and so that's when they both pursue him, and then that's when Asta finds a big pile of hay, and he jumps on the hay and summons his sword and throws it at the cloud like he did in Canon. And that's when the cloud disperses, and then that's when Natsu comes flying down as he crashes into the guy that stole the purse. And then that's when Natsu said, "Where the hell do you think you're going with that old lady's purse? Give it back, you thief!" And then that's when Asta also came, and then he was like, "Yeah, you give it back, you thief." And then so after they gave him a good little pummeling and a good beating, that's when they were able to get it back to the old woman, and the old woman thanks them for getting her purse back. And that's when the old woman reveals to be the Wizard King Julius, right? So Julius pulls up in style. So after he introduces himself to the Black Bulls that were wandering, Asta, Natsu, Noel, and Vanessa, right? Julius goes on his bit about how secret excursions are necessary, and he just basically gives them the information on who he is and all that other stuff, while Julius tells Natsu and Asta that his brother is on a mission, and currently on a mission with the Golden Downs, Klaus, Mimosa, and Salem, who also lost to in the exam, right? So she basically wants to go visit Yuno's village, which doesn't see a problem with it, but Klaus has, he's a little suspicious of it, on why she would want to visit pretty much home, right? So they end up going to the home anyway, right? And as they were going, bandits try to attack them, but handles them effortlessly as he's using his wind magic, his wind gust. He has a special move called Tempest Arc, which is like a huge area of effects, wind slash, pretty much. So he basically handles them like nothing, like no tomorrow. Handles them perfectly fine, right? Basically, making him live up to the reputation that he has gained through his we'll say a few months of him being in the Golden Dawns. So father and the children, come out to greet and their reunion is warm, as they just want to know how is doing, and how strong has he gotten along with father, with Klaus' suspicion only getting growing, because he still finds it suspicious how bandits attack like they knew they were coming there, and he still just finds it weird how Salem, out of all people, wants to visit Yuno's village, right? So after he ponders, he he's basically saying to himself that he doesn't have enough evidence, but he's still gonna keep a lookout because he feels like there's an ulterior motive here. So in Hajj, the church has a huge dinner, right? And the group pretty much gets to know where has grown up, how he lived here, and then that's when also learns that Asta and Natsu are sending their portions of their most of their paycheck to the church to help them out, which Natsu started doing first, and then that's when he was like, I won't let either of those two outdo me, and then that's when basically he vows to start doing the same, keeping their rivalry that he has with his brothers alive, and keeping the drive alive as well. And then as they were just chatting, Salem tries to stall his departure by asking like Sister Lily for some water, right? So she asks her, may I have some water please? And Sister Lily leads her to the back, trying to be nice, because that's how she is. So as they make their way to the back, that's when Sister Lily goes out to lead her to the like water well, and then that's when she gets kidnapped by hidden accomplices, and that's when begins to feel like something's wrong, right? So they all rush outside, and then that's when wants to go towards where they capture Sister Lily, but Klaus says that their priority is trying to find Salem and protect her. And then that's when was like, I don't give a damn about that right now. What matters is my family first, and I'm always gonna put them above what I have to do, even if that means disobeying an order and going alone. And then that's as he says that, that's when he gets his broom, and then he reminds himself, and he was like that damn Natsu was rubbing off on me. And then that's when gets to go into the woods alone. So he finds where the bandits' hideout were. He defeats the bandits and also finds Sister Lily, as the bandits are put in a position where they kind of have more leverage than does, as the bandits they demand his grimoire. They want Yuno's grimoire. So as was thinking about exchanging his grimoire, because they know that he's nothing without it, a magic spear flies and hits the remaining bandit as Klaus walks through and exposes this hidden operation, exposing Salim that planned everything the whole time. So after they saved Sister Lily and brought Salim to justice, the Golden Dawn receives another star for a successful mission and uncovering the twist that happened. So now we cut into where we go to the next day, where Asta hears what happens and how got another gold star, and then that's when he pretty much wants to reignite his rivalry with them, as he says that he's gonna get as much recognition or more than and Natsu also agrees with that statement, with saying that he wants to get more recognition than both of them combined. And so, pretty much everything goes canon into this episode, with them naming the Blackbird Nero, and then that's when Captain Yami has another mission for them. So Luck, Manga, Asta, Noel, along with Natsu, go into they all go into this dungeon that Captain Yami speaks. So Finn, I'm gonna call him Finn. I don't know how to say it. I think it's Finrel. So Finn opens the portal to the dungeon, right? And as they all step into it, they're just wondering, like, they just feel all this mana, like all this magic power, as they could just feel like the magic surging through them, with Natsu even getting more fired up, because he's already powerful in his own right. I would say, like, in this what if we're doing like rankings on who's the strongest right now, if we're talking about like Magic Knights, not captain level wise, I would say Natsu, and then Asta, and then Noel, Luck, and then, so on and so forth. But yeah, so right now, Natsu is currently the strongest in the group, excluding Captain Yami, with Asta not far behind, as Noel's not far behind as well. So they all step through the portal, and they're just in awe on how the magic feels, with Asta not being able to feel anything because he has anti-magic. So as Asta's being impatient, he sets off a trap, but then he nullifies it with his blade, with Luck being like, whoa, you can nullify any type of magic? And then that's when he begins going crazy and starts setting traps off, watching Asta nullify everything, which Luck also figures out that Julius probably sent him there or requested him to go there because he can nullify magic and just pretty much nullify everything that may lie here. So with that being said, that's when he was still setting off traps, and then that's when he feels a presence, and then that's when Luck says, "I feel somebody. I'm ready for a fight." And then that's when he gets into like his lightning mode, and then jets off, leaving Noel and Asta behind. Right, so they get left behind, and then that's when they start setting off traps with Asta pretty much just still nullifying them. But then Noelle sets off a plant trap, right? She sets off a plant trap, and then that's when Asta nullifies it, but they're still captured, right? And then that's when Natsu burns, pretty much gets trapped too, and then that's when he said, "I had enough of this." He said, "Fire dragon." He said, "Fire dragon, fire." What should we call this move? We'll call it Fire Dragon Brilliant Nova, which is basically an area of effect attack where he just condenses all his fire magic and then lets it off like a super solar flare, pretty much. Like a super explosive wave on some Vegeta shit, but not that big, but not to the point where he's gonna kill himself. So he fires it, right, and frees himself, but at the same time, since it's like an area of effect, he kind of forgot to put it off so he doesn't hurt Asta. Well, Asta's not gonna get hurt. It's more of Noel, but Asta still can't get hurt. But at that same time comes, that's when saves all three of them and saves Natsu from legit blowing half this stuff up. And then that's when pretty much makes his entrance saying, "And with that, Asta and Natsu, I'm officially up on both of you." And so, they reunited with his brother. We're going to say Asta is the youngest. Natsu's more like, Asta's age, and Yuno's the kind of oldest. Like, they're all in the same group, age group. But, we're going to say they have the same, their birthdays are like 2-day difference, So they're pretty much the same age group. And the reunion is warm, but then it starts turning into a rivalry as they're trying to see who can make it to the center first. And then that's when Natsu was like, that's when he was like, "You guys are trying to argue which one who's gonna make it." And then that's when Klaus says, "Obviously we're gonna make it, since we Golden Dawns are the better guild." And then that's when Natsu was like, "You want to prove that, Four Eyes?" He was like, "Because let me tell you something right here. You must not know who Natsu Dragneel is. Natsu is the one who can get there before you even blink." He was like, "And even if you have 4 eyes, I could probably still get there with my eyes closed. Because guess what? I'm part dragon. And you know what that means? I can hear and smell it." And then that's when Klaus looks at him. "What are you supposed to smell?" And then that's when Natsu was like, "Your bottom lip." And then that's when he was like, "Excuse me? Is that an insult?" And then that's when Natsu was like, "So it seems like he said, uptight nobles can't take insults well." He was like, "How about we settle it like right here? Whoever gets there first has all the bragging rights and bragging privileges and has to give up and has to buy the other dinner, buy the winning party dinner, my bad." So that's when Klaus agrees, but then that's when Klaus also scolds for helping another squad member. And then that's when Natsu said, we don't really care about all that, because when we're together, it's better to work together than apart. And then that's when Natsu said, but for this example, I have to be the one to win. I have something to prove. And then that's when Mimosa looks at Natsu, and then that's where it begins. She starts looking him up and down as she sees, some of his intense aura. And then that's when Natsu looks, they begin to lock eyes. And then that's when Mimosa feels something that she never felt, a yearning for Natsu. Not nothing crazy, bro. I'm not finna do nothing crazy. This is not high school DxD, bro. If y'all know how them high school DxD what is get, So that's when Natsu, legit flash steps in front of her, and she is taken aback because she feels nothing but warmth around this man. So that's when he was like, you're a pretty lady that has pretty eyes I've seen in a while. And she takes that as a compliment because, Natsu is just straight up. If he think you fine as hell, he gonna tell you that. So that's what he said. He's like, you have some pretty eyes. And then that's when Natsu was like, to make it a better deal. And then that's when he picks her up. He picks her up bridal style. And she was like, hey, get off of me, you ruffian. He was like, I'm not a ruffian. My name is Natsu Dragneel. So address me as that, please. And then that's when she shuts up because she was like, oh, this is a real one. This a real nigga stepping up, man. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? So that's when Natsu was like, I'll even have some extra. He said, I'll even carry one of your members to the center. And then that's when Klaus is, starting to get agitated because he can't have Natsu talking all this stuff and maybe having the potential to back it up. So they all agree to race with Noelle, racing along with them, even though she had, displayed her displeasure of trying to race and, mess with these antics, but deep down she likes it. So that's when they all say, on your mark, get set. And then that's when Klaus was like, Mimosa, do not help him. And then that's when Natsu was like, don't listen to that four-eyed nerd. He said, do whatever you feel like. At the end of the day, as long as you're a good person, that's all that matters. And then that's when Yuno said, go. And then that's when Natsu coats himself into fire. And then that's when Mimosa thought the fire was going to burn her. But it didn't. It actually made her feel strong, too. So that's when she unknowingly nestles into Natsu's chest, right? And then that's when, as they all say go, Natsu takes a deep stride, cracking the ground, and all you see is flames. And then that's when Yuno uses his wind magic to shoot out, and then that's when Asta runs as fast as he can, right? So as they were running, right, Natsu was dang near like gliding on the floor on some, like, think of it as Naruto and Sasuke. When Naruto first ran at Sasuke when he was in his Nine Tails mode, right? When he was in his Nine Tails mode, and you saw how when he was running, the water was like legit, like gliding along his feet. That's pretty much what's happening. Even when they made it to the like a little bit of water area, that's how it was looking, but it was like a steam trail. So they basically all raced to the center, right? So they all raced to the center, which we flashed to Julius realizing that there's also other members, Lotus members in the dungeon, which we flip back to Luck, which he's pretty much wiped out all the Lotus's henchmen that were in the that was in the dungeon, and now he wants to fight Lotus. As the fight pretty much goes into canon, where Luck was losing pretty badly, not like in a way of where he was not in a way where he was like losing, but it pretty much goes into canon as Lotus is pretty much beating his behind, which you know, Lotus has a flashback of what his mom told him, that nobody's gonna be able to help him, so he's on his own, which which entails him surpassing his limits, even though he's about to start crashing because he's draining all his mana. So that's when as Lotus continues to fight um Luck, right? That's when Lux no, yeah, that's when Lux mana starts to fade, and Noel senses it, and Asta is speeding over there to help. As that's when Natsu also senses it, so he speeds over there even more to try to see if he can help Luck or potentially save him. So as they were approaching the climax of this situation, Yuno was almost there to the center, but then that's when he senses that Yuno his partners might want to be in danger. That's when Asta was able to find Luck, right? He was able to find them, and then that's when Natsu comes running in, as he smelled all that smoke that the Lotus was using. As he was like, I smelled all that smoke all the way from here, and it led me to you. He was like, look, you can't do everything by yourself. Why do you think you're a part of the Black Bulls? It isn't just something that you could just call yourself a Magic Knight and work alone. You work together. He said, and that's what we're going to do. He was like, who cares if you didn't have anybody that you could have depended on, or you had to do everything by yourself. You see how strong you gotten by yourself? Now, let's see how your strength multiplies when you work together. So, get your head out your ass and let's get this guy together. And then that's when Mimosa is starting to, like Natsu more. His headstrong attitude, his fiery spirit, and yet he could be so fiery and yet gentle when needed as well. And that's as he puts her down pretty softly. He was like, and then that's when he said, let me go help them out real quick, and I'll carry you the rest of the way. And then that's when Mimosa said that she really didn't need him to. And then that's when Natsu looked back. He said, I wasn't telling you. Stay here for your safety. And then that's when he, jumps down. And that's when the battle begins between Luck, Asta, and Lotus, and Natsu. As Mimosa's really just looking in awe, because she never had somebody, a fine gentleman like Natsu, speak to her like that. Speak to her in such a demanding yet caring way. So the battle begins as we're gonna say Lotus uses like some smoke wolves to send after Natsu, which Natsu punches through pretty easily. As that's when Luck tries to surprise him with his lightning, but then Lotus dodges as he turns into a smoke clone, which Natsu was able to use his fire dragon roar to disperse all the smoke, which Lotus was taking kind of notice, but he's like, his fire magic is so strong he could burn smoke. He was like, I've never heard of that before. And then that's when being distracted by Natsu's fire. That's when Asta was able to get a clean hit off of off of Lotus, which he sends him into the air, but Lotus shoots like this huge twin torrent stream of smoke as Natsu gets in the way of it. And then that's when he clashes it with his fire dragon brilliant flame attack and shoots it, making like this whole pillar of fire as it clashes into each other. But since it was kind of stronger, it pierces through. And then that's when Natsu uses fire dragon brilliant flame whirlwind, using two powerful attacks at the same time, and it just clashes with them. And then that's when Natsu was like, I've never done this, but better late than never, as he absorbed a fire back and unknowingly absorbed some of the smoke as well. So he absorbed some of the smoke, and then that's when Lotus was like, he was like, you stupid kid, you absorbed some of my magic. Now to make you suffer. And then that's when Natsu began to choke, right? He began to choke and cough and start, beating on the ground. And then that's when Natsu was able to overpower the smoke, as that's when Natsu's flames become like a dark fiery grayish aura, as he temporarily now has smoke into him. So that's when he was like and then as he lets out a deep breath, that's when all this flame, like flaming smoke, comes out, right? And then that's when Natsu is like, dragon mode stage 1. And that's when his voice becomes hoarse, right? And then that's when he speed blitzes towards Lotus. And then that's when he says, fire. He said, smoky fire dragon, iron fist. And then that's when he punches this man, right? And then that's when he goes flying back. But Lotus comes down with another attack as he summons a smoke sword, right? And then that's when Natsu comes with the smoky fire dragon, iron axe kick, as he dodges the swipe and then gives Lotus an iron axe kick to the back of his head, causing like a huge, not a huge, but like a semi-huge smoky fire explosion. As that's when Natsu finishes it off with he said smoky fire, iron dragon arc. And then that's when he uses his foot again to create like an arc blast of fire, smoky fire, which hits Lotus full force, right? Hits him full force. And that's when Lotus is like, taken aback by how is he able to use smoke and fire magic at the same time, which him flying back into the crystal cave run, right? And so as he is laying there, that's when Natsu gets on one knee, and then that's when he still is retaining some of the smoke, but it's starting to fade away, right? So he's still powered up by the smoke and fire temporarily. So that's when Mimosa says, "Are you okay?" And then that's when she sees like smoke and flames rising off his body, and then that's when Natsu said, "Yes, I'm okay." And then that's when he noticed he has a cut. She has a cut on her cheek, and then that's when he wipes the blood off, and doing so unknowingly healed her cheek. And then that's when he was like, "Sorry that you got hurt and all that." He was like, and then that's when he picks her up again, and then that's when Natsu says that Yuno's in danger. Let's go. And then that's when he burst off into like a flamey, like a dark flame, like a dark smoky orange flame. And then that's when they all come into the room, this huge area room, how they do in canon, and we see Yuno facing off against Lux, Yuno and Klaus facing off against Lux. And then as they enter the room, that's when Mimosa gets hit by this huge diamond attack, right? This huge diamond attack. And so that's when but that's how it would go in canon, right? But instead Natsu pushes her, lifts her out the way, and then Natsu says, "Fire dragon iron, smoky fire dragon iron fist," and iron dragon fist, my bad. And then he punches the diamond through. But we're gonna say for plot sakes that Mimosa still takes a hit, even though Natsu was protecting her. It was just something that he wasn't expecting till the last second. So Mimosa got hit, which pisses off Natsu, and he was like, "How dare you hurt her?" And then that's when Mars says, "What are you gonna do about it?" And then that's pretty much when Natsu said, "Oh, you're gonna see," which Klaus realizes that he has magic stones embedded in him. So that's when Natsu said that that's when Natsu says that Klaus lets him know that his magic output and his magic overall is higher than everybody here. And then that's when Natsu says, "Does it look like I care about that?" He was like, "He hurt a member of our team, and he's gonna continue to try to hurt or kill us if we don't put him down. So if you guys can't figure out a way to attack him, then I will." Natsu burst off into a dash, and then that's when Mars was like, "You're interesting." He said, "Smoke and fire." He was like, "I never seen something like that. Entertain me." And then that's when they both clash, right? And then that's when Mars goes for like another a huge diamond iceberg attack. That's the really way I could explain it, like a huge pillar of diamonds shooting at Natsu, which Natsu dodges relatively easily, and so he's dodging them, right? And then that's when Natsu was like, "Fire, smoky fire dragon, iron fist blast," which he punches, right? He punches, and then it's like a huge fire and smoky fire, right? That's the only thing it's like a grayish orange fire, smoky fire. That's the only thing I could pretty much say what it is, right? He punches it, right? And then that's when it's this huge blast, and then that's when Mars puts up a solid diamond defense, right? And then that's when explosion hits as it cracks the defense, right? And then that's when Mars is like, "Huh?" And then that's when Natsu burst in, and then that's when Natsu says, that's when because Natsu uses that move as a cover. So as that move was meant to break through Mars's diamond defense, that's when Natsu follows up with the smoky fire dragon falling meteor, and he just shoots towards him as he gets through his defense, and he legit headbutts him. He headbutts him, right? He butts him as they both come crashing down, and then that's when Natsu uses that momentum, right? And then that's when he says, "Smoky fire dragon, brilliant flame roar." And then that's when he unknowingly used all the smoke magic, right? He uses all the smoke magic, so it was just this huge grayish orange fire that shot towards Mars, and that's when Mars uses another defense tactic to blow him up, to pretty much to try to get away from this blast, or try to not take damage from this blast. So a huge blast occurs as Mars's thing, his dome of impenetrable diamonds was opened by that one attack, as Natsu is still in the air. And then that's when he says, "Smoky fire dragon, brilliant flame," right? And then that's when he tries to use the smoke, but no smoke came out. It was just fire. And then that's when he shot that attack down, which Mars took that attack as he was pretty damaged, right? And then that's when Mars was like, "You're gonna pay for this." And then that's when Natsu comes crashing down, and he was like, "I told you, I'm not one of those." He said, "I'm not one of those weak people that you think that you could just, shoot a couple of diamonds at and call it a day. We aren't that. If you want to take us down, you better make sure you're ready to take my life." And then that's where we're going to leave this what if off. So I hope y'all enjoyed this what if. We're going to pick this what if back up the next part, where Mars attacks back, and pretty much everything will go canon, to which everybody fights Mars pretty much. And yeah, we're just going to pick that back up with Mars going on the offensive and everybody else will go on the defensive. So I hope y'all enjoy that. I also hope y'all enjoyed the teaser of Natsu's new ability, which is called, we're going to say it's called Elemental Switch, or Magic Adaptation, which he pretty much has, where if he's exposed to a magic for a long time, or adapts to it, he could eat that magic and put it in his arsenal. But certain magics that he may eat, we're not going to make it overpowered, obviously. We have to make it have some drawbacks as well. So it's pretty much certain magics that he eats, he could gain the attribute and abilities of. So, for example, like I just teased it, when he fought Lotus and he ate Lotus's smoke, he became the smoky fire dragon. For example, if he eats Lux, he'll have the lightning abilities, and we'll keep that permanent. So for some, we're gonna say for some. I know how we could do it. For some abilities, it will be temporary, but for other compatible elements like magma and lightning, and we could say even other non-magical things like cursed magic and stuff, he'll have like an elemental slot. So right now, since he used up all the smoke, smoke is temporarily gone. So he has smoke. There's going to be 3 slots that he could use, besides the permanent ones. So we're going to say as temporary slots. So once he gets his lightning, that'll be a part of him as well. And I'll make other elements, whatever he eats, a part of him as well. But for the other elements that he isn't compatible with, it'll be a temporary boost. But if he eats too much, or he isn't exposed to it too much, or hasn't adapted to it, he can still eat it, but it will be very deadly to him. So it'll be more like a high risk, high reward type thing. So that's gonna be Natsu's new ability. I hope y'all enjoyed this what if. I appreciate y'all for all the love and support. Make sure y'all watch the first what if, and if y'all missed the other one, I'll link both videos at the end right here, so y'all could click part 1, or y'all could continue where y'all left off and enjoy this piece right here, along with the previous what if Natsu was in Black Clover as well. I just want to thank y'all for all the love and support y'all been showing me so far. I know I've been going kind of crazy with the uploads, man. I mean, I have a lot of time to kill, so why not record? So I appreciate y'all for all the love and support y'all been showing me. I was thinking about doing what if Sekiro was in Sword Art Online, just for like a gag, like a one shot, basically like a one shot what if, pretty much. And I will be picking up another what if. I think I will want to continue what if Morijin was in High School DxD. Also, I will be picking up Miles, Spectacular Miles. I know, I've been hearing it. I had people email me and in source, what am I gonna pick up? Spectacular Miles. I will do it. Better yet, I will record it tomorrow and then post it. Okay, so with that being said, I appreciate y'all for all the love and support. And yes, I will be doing gag what ifs too. I will be doing what if Franklin Saint was in Craig of the Creek as well. I've never watched Craig of the Creek, so I'm gonna watch it. I already know how Franklin Saint is, so this is just going to be a funny ass what if. And let me know if y'all want me to add cussing in that bitch, because Craig of the Creek, we already know what type of show that is, bro. That shit kind of funny. I already seen a clip when he was like, boy, and he roasted the hell out of him. He said, I didn't even know I had insecurities that I was insecure about. That shit had me crying, bro. But anyway, I appreciate y'all for all the love and support. I hope y'all enjoyed this hour special of what if Natsu was in Black Clover part 4. And I combined some of these episodes together, so we could just, continue along with pretty much all the important stuff, the fights, some of the cutscenes, some of the dialogues, and pretty much everything in that. So I combined it a few episodes into this one part, so this is why it's an hour. So I'm gonna say an hour, part 5 hour special. But I appreciate y'all for all the love and support. We are almost at 200 subs, man. We're almost at 200 subs. I cannot believe we are almost at 200 subs, but we are. Anyway, I appreciate y'all for all the love and support. Make sure y'all comment, like, subscribe, turn on the bell. I'm always active in my community posts. I might have to start a community for y'all so y'all can give me suggestions, or if y'all want me to go live and we can kick it with Redux, we can, man. But without any further ado, this is Redux What Ifs signing off. Peace.